Hebrews chapter 13, the final and concluding exhortation. Hebrews chapter 13 covers a whole myriad of topics in closing. Talks about loving one another as brothers and sisters, showing compassion and kindness and remembering those who've been mistreated and imprisoned. Talks about showing kindness to strangers as you may have entertained angels and not even have known it. Talks about marriage and keeping the marriage bed pure as God had ordained and designed it. Talks about living life out of contentment and not a love of money, reminding us that God will provide for our needs, reminding us what can mere man do to us. Never will I leave you and never will I forsake you. Hebrews 13 would remind us. And then it shifts and points and reminds us of how Jesus was dragged outside of the city gates and paid for all sin for all time. So shall we also seek life outside of the city gates, reminding us that the city walls are a temporary reality. That what awaits us is something far, far beyond our present circumstances. It reminds us of this covenant, this constant covenant of God's grace and mercy and love, like the waves that roll into the shore, ongoing, never ending, never ceasing. But Hebrews 13 also reminds us that in the midst of the joy and the mercy and the kindness and the grace and the love of this covenant that we receive and we partake in, that as Christians, we will always be just a little out of step. We will always be a little bit out of context. Things, even in their best moments, just won't quite fit their setting when we truly follow Jesus in the way that He intended and desires for us to follow Him. Hebrews chapter 13 reminds us that even in the world that we live and work and play, that this covenant that constantly rolls in and meets us on the shores of this life, that what awaits us is a vast ocean of the fullness of His existence. That when we leave these shores, what is just the beginning of a covenant that has reached down from heaven and touched us, the very core of our being, will one day be revealed to us in its fullness. The vast ocean and depth of His love, His grace, His mercy, and His kindness. What ultimately awaits all of us is Jesus Christ, the author and perfecter of our faith.